Hey everyone, welcome to the Fruit and Strength Show, and I'm here with Evan Rock. And Evan Rock has been doing a raw vegan diet for a number of years now. How long has it been?
Well, I've experimented on and off. I do occasionally eat cooked food nowadays, have some cooked carbs at night, but I've been experimenting with raw foods for about 5 or 6 years and been vegan for about 8 years.
Jeez. What was the starting, what got you started with it?
Probably watching back in the day, like 2009, like Dan McDonald
Damn McDonald.
and
Yeah.
Harley also.
Yeah, that was a good
But
combo.
before that, like Earthlings and just, researching different philosophies and whatnot.
Yeah. And now you're living in California, and now you're in Hawaii. And you got like a huge fruit farm, and you're making a kind of retreat there. You've done a couple of retreats
Basically,
already.
it's a retreat center on a neglected fruit orchard that I've nursed back to health, just north of Hilo, on the Big Island of Hawaii, and it's serving as a place where we can have gatherings and have people come. And so we have a website, bigaina.com, and we do adventure retreats that encompass healthful eating, raw and cooked vegan options, and also focus on experiencing love and creativity and having a morning practice centering within oneself.
And what about the property? You bought this huge property on Hawaii, and how did you get that place? I know you got an interesting story behind that, and then tell them how you found like mangosteens growing there, just out in the wild.
Yeah. Well, I decided to move to Hawaii. I kind of left my real estate job in Los Angeles. I was in commercial real estate and had a few business partners, and I wasn't really excited about that as being my perpetual future. So when I spent a month in 2013 with Megan, Elizabeth, and Joey, I fell in love with the idea of making the permanent switch. Even though I'd been going to Hawaii every year knowing that eventually I was going to end up there, I decided that was the time. And I had saved up money and decided to look for land, and I eventually found someone who would seller finance me, and I purchased a piece of land. And the way I came across that particular property, I looked at quite a few, but that one, it was just a friend of a friend took me on a trip to go buy durian. And on the way back, we went to someone's farm, and then the neighboring farm was abandoned. And he said, "Oh, I think it might be for sale, and I think there's durian up there." And so we went up, and we were looking in the durian orchard, and we found one on the ground, which was kind of weird because it was totally out of season. So that was the first time the property spoke to me. And then the second time, I had kind of written it off, thinking it was going to be way too much.
It wasn't on sale even.
It wasn't listed or anything. And I got the phone number for the guy, but I never called him. But then I decided, after coming back a couple months later, that I was going to call the guy, and I ended up having a meeting with him and his wife. And then they gave me the gate code to go up the main road to the property, and it was crazy, just all guinea grass, 10 foot tall. And
to tell them about the house, you just built a house there.
Yeah,
and
well,
you had this tall grass, and you're like, I saw it from the beginning.
Yeah.
Now he's got this.
It's funny. I went to working
house.
out every day in the gym,
Yeah.
like 5 days a week, to just being like, okay, no more gym, just living out of the truck, box of bananas. But yeah, first time I got there, it was just so much grass I could barely even make it through the property, and I almost just gave up and turned around. But I eventually stumbled upon some more trees, and the grass loosened up a bit. And truth have it, it was the thickest part of the property that was condensed with grass that I was somehow going through. But I made it into the mangosteen orchard, which was a little thinner, and then I found a tree that was just loaded with mangosteen, and I loved, smashing those in, and that was another confirmation from the property. Yeah, they're really good. Right off the tree.
What would you describe them as?
Total different experience. It's one of the hardest things to describe. I always say it's like the best introductory exotic tropical fruit for anyone, because if you open one up and it's fresh, it just opens up perfectly. The tree is easy to climb. You can get a bunch of them, and it's just a very subtle, sweet, flavor and
I would say
a
almost like a
pleasant texture.
citrus fruit almost.
Yeah, but it's not acidic.
Yeah,
It's more
very
gentle.
mild and
Mild and
almost
gentle.
like vanilla. Like,
Yeah.
in a way.
So yeah, I just eventually took over the property and started cutting grass and building structures, and now we have a full retreat center.
You never built houses, have you?
No.
No.
But you can learn a whole lot on YouTube.
On YouTube, I know, right?
And yeah, so I did most of the plumbing myself. I've done, helped on all the framing and done a lot of the finish work. And now there's like 6 structures on the property. So
How many fruit trees?
fruit trees have not counted. There's a whole
A lot.
lychee orchard, durian orchard, mangosteen, remington, longin, jackfruit, citrus. We've planted ackee. Yeah. So yeah.
What-
I really like ackee.
Yeah, I like that stuff. But
I've
they
had
had
some
one
good-
here in
good ackee, though. Why?
I don't think. Well, it won't be bad, but I tried eating one over here. I mean, it was open. You got to make sure it's open, or it could kill you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tried it. It tasted really bland. I don't know if I got a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah. So on another topic, you've been trying out creatine, and we've been chatting about it.
Yeah, I supplement. I actually just did a video on my channel that's youtube.com/fruitzen, and that one's got basically my current exercise and supplement regime and diet, I guess. But yeah, creatine's one. There's a lot of studies where vegans and vegetarians specifically benefit, not just on a strength level, which we're interested in strength. I like to stay fit. And I go up and lift weights with him at Woodstock, but on the mental level, the cognitive functioning increases when someone starts to have some creatine in their diet, and that includes memory and then just basic level functioning. They do tests, so it's really interesting to me because we are more than just our physical strength. Like that's important, but our mental functioning and our deeper empathetic and spiritual pursuits are I think what makes us human. So we can't neglect that.
Yeah, we kind of lost our brawn over the through evolution. Now
be as strong
more
as a gorilla.
smarter. So yeah, they're always going to beat us in strength. But it's cool that we can do some of it.
Yeah.
But definitely we're not as strong as a chimpanzee. They're like 2 times stronger, pound for pound.
Yeah.
So their muscles are just geared for that. But I think we got out of the trees and really got smarter up here. So creatine helps with that.
Yeah.
Supposedly. And I've been meaning to try it out. I'm kind of scared, but Evan Rock's telling me,
Well,
they give it an experiment at least.
well, this is my philosophy: is that whether or not we are entirely vegan doesn't really matter that much. What matters is that yes, we primarily eat plant foods, and that's what we thrive on. But if we are, as a human race, to collectively decide what's best for our future, I would say vegan is clearly the right choice for the environment, for just ethical reasons, and for health as well. And if we need to supplement a little bit to make that work best, if someone chooses to do that, I think it's better supplementing with something like something synthesized in a laboratory, even though that's not optimal, than supplementing with killing an animal. So that's just my
thoughts are
current
the
take.
same too. It's not so much, I don't look back and people are like doing the paleo diet and they're like, oh, you gotta eat like our ancestors did. I'm like, they died early and they had horrible lives. They didn't have the internet. They had nothing. So I rather, I want to look to the future and get better. Be the best you can be. Not worry about the past.
Going forward.
Yeah, going forward. And
Don't look
looking
at the past. Paleo is past. Vegan is the future.
Exactly.
Right on.
And what channels? You got like 3 channels. Every time I look, you got like another.
So I have the one that I just mentioned, youtube.com/fruitzen. That one's like a general vlog. It's called Heart Tribe right now. That means we love to be creative and share love, and so we put music up there, we put vlogs, all kinds of stuff. And then I also have another channel which is kind of more of a personal journal, meditation vlog, and that one is youtube.com/EvanTheRock. And people can kind of journey with me into esoteric philosophies and my experience with what I find to be the most important daily practice in my life, which is taking time away from thought, away from feeling and journeying towards self, journeying towards our conscious awareness and what that means, coming more intimate with the part of us that is still a mystery to science. No one really understands it entirely, but it's not something you're going to read in a book or find out from anyone else. It's something that we can take time every day to directly experience, not theorize about, but experience. And that's the practice of meditation. So I talk about that and help people stay on course and exploring that for themselves.
Yeah, you got a ton of videos. I can't keep all of them. Hey, I wanted to ask you, how did you meet the twins?
Charles and Davis.
This is an interesting story. You'll like this.
I don't know if it's too interesting.
Well, I mean, I thought it was funny.
Charles, I met Charles. It's funny.
He's from Chicago,
in the context of where we are now, because
Yeah.
they basically like ran this whole festival this year. But I met Charles on the beach in Hawaii. He had just come out of a Vipassana retreat, which is a 10-day meditation intensive experience where you meditate for 10 hours a day for 10 days.
And he wasn't. I don't think he was vegan or.
No, he was vegan. He had experimented with raw, and he actually knew of me through his girlfriend, one of his girlfriends at the time, I think. And we were just both at the beach and kind of locked eyes and just had a long conversation for about an hour, and it was pretty much a Dharma talk. You know, he had just come out of that experience of meditation, and I think he felt like I was able to kind of hold space for his expression of what he went through, and we ended the conversation with a hug and saying that I love you, and yeah. And then a few weeks later, it's funny, like I actually had a guy on my property that things weren't working out, and so I had just let go of a volunteer helper, and I wasn't too eager to get another person, and I had a conversation with my other friend Royal about how we should just take a break on having any new people. But then I saw Charles at the market one day, and it was very synchronistic. I was like walking through the market, and then like I just had an urge to turn around and walk the other way, and then I saw Charles walking towards me, and he was just at some cafe and felt guided to go meet me, and had that premonition that he was going to see me. And we talked again for like a half an hour, and I basically told him like, I don't have any space right now. I can't, don't have any room for you. But then he just said, well, it doesn't matter. I could come up for the days or something, help during the daytime. I don't need to sleep there. And I was like, wow, And if you know Charles, he's just so personable. So after he said that, I was just like, okay, you know what? Just come jump in the back of my truck. You can come camp out. And so he came over, and then it was funny because that was a couple months before our first retreat, and without his help, I probably wouldn't have been ready for those retreats. And we were both kind of nervous leading up to those retreats because they were, it was just the property wasn't finished, and there was a lot of uncertainty. But we pulled it off, and then had an amazing time on the retreats, and we're stoked on doing that in the future.
And how many retreats have you done so far?
We've done 2, and we have 4 coming up this winter. The first 2 are kind of sold out. So.
Nice. How much does it cost to go to a retreat?
It's currently $12.80.
$12.80. So, and it's like a whole week?
Whole week, all the food,
all the
transportation.
You
have an ocean view private room.
Yeah, I've seen the private. You got to see his channel. Just check out what he's got over there. I would say that would be on my top list for retreats to go to.
Yeah. So, it is.
All right, guys. Definitely check out his channel, and we'll fill you in with more stuff as time goes on here. So it's not the end of Woodstock yet. So, all right, man. I'll see you guys.